In the mid-90s, the CDC and Kaiser Permanente discovered an exposure that dramatically increased the risk for 7 out of 10 of the leading causes of death in the United States. In high doses, it affects brain development, the immune system, hormonal systems, and even the way our DNA is read and transcribed. Folks who are exposed in very high doses have triple the lifetime risk of heart disease and lung cancer, and a 20-year difference in life expectancy. And yet doctors today are not trained in routine screening or treatment. Now, the exposure I'm talking about is not a pesticide or a packaging chemical. It's childhood trauma. Okay, what kind of trauma am I talking about here? I'm not talking about failing a test or losing a basketball game. I am talking about threats that are so severe or pervasive that they literally get under our skin and change our physiology. Things like abuse or neglect, or growing up with a parent who struggles with mental illness.
According to childwelfare.gov, child abuse is any recent act or failure to act on the part of a parent or caretaker which results in death, serious physical or emotional harm, sexual abuse, or exploitation. Child abuse is no light matter. It occurs on a global scale and leaves the children of our future generation in hurt, feeling isolated and broken. Child abuse affects an estimated 700,000 children in just the US alone. That is 700,000 too high. It is time to realize the atrocities that is found within child abuse and crack down to a solution to end it all. Child abuse is immoral, results in the physical and mental devastation of our youth, and is illegal. Child abuse, in almost all cases, is caused by an adult that the child knows, may it be a family member or someone the child holds some sort of relationship with. However, in no way is this the child's fault. It is immoral, as an adult figure who knows the boundaries of right and wrong, to be the one who is causing the child, who has no control over his situation, so much harm. According to a 4th National Institute study on child abuse, the likeliness of abuse can be correlated to familial relationships and situations, the worst case being in single-parent with partner families with 33.6 per 1,000 children. The child has no control over his family scenario or situation and his parents' partners, yet he is the one suffering the consequences. According to UNICEF, 2.4 children in the U.S. die annually per 100,000. This means approximately 784 children in the nation are dying annually due to the hands of their parents. This is the highest number of children dying in one nation annually in the world. Child abuse is defined in part as the act of causing a child severe physical or mental pain. The pain and damage that child abuse brings upon children is unimaginable. According to the National Statistics on Child Abuse, of the children who are abused, 25% suffer from physical abuse. This means that 700,000 children in the U.S. are experiencing the horrors of being beaten, left with bruises, scars, broken bones, and many more. The remaining 3/4 of the abused children suffer from neglect, which is the failure of parents to pay attention to their kids, allowing them to place themselves in dangerous situations. In many cases of abuse and neglect, children are found to seek an outlet through negative ways such as drugs, sex, and pugnacious behavior. In addition, according to childhelp.org, 80% of 21-year-olds who have experiences of abuse suffer from the criteria of one or more psychological disorders. Child abuse is horrendous, as it not only attacks the child's body, but their mind as well. Child abuse is deemed illegal in 51 countries of the world as of 2016, according to the United Nations Tribune. Many countries where abuse is outlawed, rules and repercussions have been created, such as the mandatory reporting law, which ensures that certain persons who are close to children, such as teachers and doctors, must report to appropriate authorities when noticing a child being abused. In addition, in several nations around the world, violence against children such as beatings, spankings, and lashings are prohibited. However, in many cases, these laws are not being enforced strictly enough. According to the Ark of Good Hope for Children, an organization funded to support victims of child abuse and raise awareness of the situation, for every 1 report of child abuse, 2 are unreported. 61,000 reports of abuse are sent to child services each week within the U.S. This means that 122,000 are going unreported each week. This shows that though laws are set in place, government officials such as Child Protective Services have no way of knowing what happens behind closed doors. Within many nations, though child abuse is illegal and carries repercussions, they have no ways of enforcing these laws and protecting the innocent youth.
Despite the monstrosities of child abuse, only 51 of the 196 countries deem child abuse illegal. In the remaining 145 countries, many of them see child abuse in the form of violence, such as beating, as a necessary evil. And yes, this could be a valid point, as countries like China and Japan are some of the most advanced countries in both technology and education. However, beating is advocated as a disciplinary measure to teach kids respect and responsibility. And this is not right.
While some people may believe that child abuse is a necessary disciplinary action, I believe that child abuse is inhumane because these superiors, like their children's parents, seek to instill fear and obedience upon their children, but in reality, it only creates a false layer of obedience. Another reason why child abuse negatively impacts children is because later on in their lives, once they're abused, they begin to abuse their own children to instill fear because they don't really know any better. And after a long time of this, it will eventually become a societal norm where child abuse is present and is accepted, and this is not right.
So what now, you may ask? What's the solution? Well, we decided to let some of our timber wolves give their input on the solution to child abuse. What are some ways that people can deal with child abuse in our society today?
I think one way to deal with child abuse today is have counseling with your peers, talk to them about your problems,
There needs to be stricter laws on child abuse and harder investigations when necessary.
I think that children should learn about child abuse in schools so that they themselves can reach out for help if they are being abused.
I think reaching out to people that you may think is under child abuse or victims you know of is important because of how much damage they might have intake. Like it could have damaged them so much that it physically and mentally affects them to the point where they could kill themselves as a possible consequence.